Hey folks, well as you can see, we're not on the farm today. We're out in my woods. And this is not going to be your typical worm video. I want to tell you a story. A little story about, yeah, there's going to be worms in this video. There's going to be plants in this video. There's going to be a guy that raises worms and plants in this video. There's also going to be somebody else, the main character, the star of the video, the Krampus. So let me tell you the tale of Krampus and how the young man and the worms and the plants managed to stop Krampus from doing his Krampus things. We're going to find out shortly here. But let's go back to the fire where it's warm. Ah, come closer, friends. Sit by my modern fire here. You know, those old woods hold many stories, but there's one that I've carried longer than most. It's a tale of soil and shadow, of a young farmer and a creature best left forgotten. Folks, use your imagination as you stare into the fire. You might see pictures, drawings, and you may even see actual scenes of the story I'm about to tell. There once lived a lad named Jiminy, quiet boy, humble as the earth he tended. Yet from his fields came vegetables so full of life that the elderly walked with renewed strength. Children ran with bright eyes and quick feet. Folks traveled from distant valleys just to taste what he grew. But Jiminy never claimed the praise. No, he knew the truth. He knew it was the worms, those small, tireless keepers of the soil, and the living web beneath his boots that deserved the honor. He thanked them often, for he understood that all the abundance begins in the dark, rich places most people never even think to look. And then came winter. Snow laid itself across the village like a quiet blessing, and the holidays brought laughter to every doorstep. The children, well behaved as any I've ever played with, spent their time running, playing in the drifts without a care. But high above, perched on a jagged ledge of stone, another watched. Krampus, a creature who could not abide good children, nor the peace they brought. You see, he longed for mischief, for chaos, for the wildness, the wilderness, the wildness of misbehaving youth. Yet when he descended to chase them, as Krampus does, he found the children too swift, too lively, too full of vitality. Jiminy's crops had brought that to those children. So Krampus turned his gaze to the young farmer. If I stop the boy, he thought, I slow the children. And so he gave chase. For hours he pursued Jiminy, but the lad was nimble, and the land itself seemed to protect him. On the second day of the chase, the worms and the plants, those quiet allies, decided enough was enough. They rose in their own way tangling roots and soil, the worms binding Krampus until he could struggle no more. And so the chase ended. Jiminy, grateful and humble, asked the worms how he might repay them. They offered him the severed tail of Krampus, for they knew the creature would regenerate unless the tail was carried far, far away, where no one, even Krampus, could ever find it. The plants whispered their request. Take it across the ocean, Jiminy. And the worms promised to accompany him on his trip. So Jiminy boarded a ship at dawn, the tail wrapped safely away, and an unseen army of worms traveled with him to a new land. In that new country, Jiminy and the worms set to work. Together, they healed the soil, they taught the people, and they brought forth crops that fed both body and spirit. The wisdom of the soil web spread, and the land flourished. And as for the tail, well, Krampus has never returned. You see, without it, he can't run. And as any old sailor will tell you, he certainly cannot swim. Folks, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Talk to you next time.